welcome to the Bout of Insanity YouTube channel. I am here for the third time today. Twice I have recorded half an hour into this, and I've just realised I only have half an hour available for this one. Twice I have gone half an hour into a recording and then it crashes. So yes, for me I'm a bit sick of this intro by now, but welcome. I haven't uploaded anything on this YouTube channel in quite a while. I usually post about politics or history in podcast form, but today I decided to do something different, or not just today, but I have decided to do something different with my time now. I am going to be making usually normal styled videos such as this, and as you can see me. If you're quite observant, you might have already realised. I decided to do this just because I thought audio was a bit boring. I don't really have many good skills on editing, and I decided to just do this. Now I'm surrounded by artifacts, two of which I can't fit in, but here's pistol. I'm not actually allowed to bring this to university. Can you believe it? I can't bring this to bloody Winchester. I cannot. As if someone would think me going like bang is gonna kill anyone. But that's for a different day. I've also got this, but this Soviet hat is like the Navy or whatever. Yeah, you can probably see that there. It's flipped, so it's like all different. This Soviet hat has nothing to do with what I'll be talking about today. So this tricorn hat, very snazzy. It's a leather-bound book, got quotes in it, but I won't be using them today either, they're just for decoration. These two things are what I'll be using today. The annotated bicentennial edition by the Brothers Grimm, or the Brothers Grimm, not by them, of course they're not 200 years old, but yes, fairy tales, Greek myths, Robert Graves, the complete and definitive edition. The Greek myths, it's quite sizable, and I've only got I am a very slow reader when I actually do read, which is quite rarely, so I'm only very short through it. I've also been on a little book, it's like that big maybe, for about a year now, so yeah, I don't read that much. But yes, the exact Grimm fairy tale I will do is called The Wolf and the Seven Little Goats, and the one here is is the dethronement of Kronos, which is among the most important myths in... Oh, Jesus Christ, I almost spilled water on my laptop, and then I tipped my leather-bound book over. And Rudolph, I have many leather-bound books. There we are. Sorry about that. Here. So, other than the creation myth, which, is quite inescapable, like you can't have a more important myth than the creation myth, because as Aristotle says nothing is what rocks dream about, which is generally what I do to imagine nothing in my head, because it's quite hard, really, for me to try and conceptualize nothing in the universe, and it's what rocks dream about, which is nothing. They don't dream, so there is nothing there. But I'm going down a tangent. I first saw that a debate on whether God exists. I'm not really. I would consider myself agnostic now, but if someone asked me in like a survey or whatever, I would say atheist. I'd say I'm an atheist, but you know, I wouldn't be overly surprised if, well, I would be surprised obviously, but I wouldn't be completely dumbfounded if there was some sort of god, goddess, or whatever magical being who created the universe. But yeah, Cronus, the dethronement of Cronus, let's get back on topic, is among the most important. It creates some of the most iconic and people's favourite characters from Greek myths, such as Zeus with his thunderbolt, and Zeus being king of the gods and lord of the universe. Poseidon's trident was also given to him during this myth. Hades' invisibility helmet, which I find really cool, was also given to him in this myth and the later war against Cronus and Atlas. And Atlas was also forced to carry the world on his shoulders for the rest of eternity, which is quite iconic as well and quite famous. So, but I will not be focusing or saying anything on the war between the gods and the titans today. I will be talking more about the beginnings of that myth. Now, the goat and the seven little dwarfs. Seven little goats, sorry. It's a German folklore tale, and it goes something like this. The goat, mother goat, is the wolf and the seven little goats, not the goat and the seven little goats. The mother goat goes off onto the forest to forage for some firewood and food, and she says to the children, "Watch out for the wolf, and do not let him in, because he'd eat you. One by one, he will gobble you up. But don't worry, you can tell the wolf for who he is, because of his rough voice and his black paw. But you know, you'd think maybe they'd realise that there's something a bit different between a massive wolf, which is at least like twice the size of a goat, at least, with massive pointy ears, a long nose and claws, than their own mother, who is a goat. But yeah, another little picture there. It's in the thumbnail, but I thought I'd show it again. Hermann Vogel, Kinder- und Hausmärchen, gesammelt durch die Brüder Grimm. If there's any Germans watching, I severely apologise. But Hausmärchen means house fairy tale, not house march, which I previously thought because I put a space in between. But yes, she goes off and then the wolf comes along and he says, "Open the door, dear children. Your mother is back and she's bought something for each of you." And then they say, they say it exactly. "Don't think that we would be so stupid as to open the door for you. Our mother doesn't have a black foot like that one. You must be the wolf." So runs off to the store, as it says in here, which I despise. It's bloody Americanized. Earlier there was a story about a boy who wanted to find fear, except they didn't say fear, they said get the treats, which is a bit annoying, really. So yes, and then he gets some chalk and eats it, which, according to this, makes your voice sweeter. But I googled it on the first thing, and all that came up was r/stupid questions, or no stupid questions, sorry. And it said, they asked, does it make your voice go deeper? So I was like, hang on, what's going on? There's some sort of paradox. Well, not really a paradox, but there's some sort of discrepancy here. In here, it makes your voice higher in pitch, and to someone online, it makes your voice go deeper in pitch. So then I looked eagerly for the answers and the replies, and nothing was there. Like, what's the point in commenting, I also think this, or I too saw this in cartoons? Like, no one cares. We're there for the answers, not how many people have that question. Right. So yes, the wolf goes to the baker of all places and asks for some dough to be put on his paw. Don't ask me why. They don't just use, like, paint or whatever. Surely dough would just make it, like, just nothing like a goat tooth at all. Like, dough is, like, barely white. It's sort of like off-white at best. It's sort of almost the colour of this wall. So, I don't know what he was thinking there, let alone the bumps and what you'd be known or called behind your back. Imagine being known as, like, bakery leg, or, like, I don't know, pie foot. So yeah, and he does put flour on his paw as well, but you know, goat hooves are neither powdery nor doughy, so yeah. So then they come back, he's got, like, a sweeter voice. Oh, and I must say, he did have a sweeter voice, and then he went back again, but then they saw his paw and they just ignored the fur and the claws and the entire shape of the paw, and, like, it wasn't, like, the leg wasn't on top of it, it's sort of like that. Yeah, they just ignored all of that, really. And just, oh, the colour's different, right, that's the wolf. So now they come back, and because, you know, they must be blind or something. So they says again, open the door, dear children. Mother's back, and she's brought something from the woods for each of you. The little kids shouted, show us your paw so that we will know for sure that you are our dear mother. That's his paw on, it's white. I mean, it may be white, but it's also dusty. And they all believe him and let him in. So, you know, so they all hide. One hid under the table, another in bed, a third in the oven, a fourth in the kitchen. At least, under the bed, under the table, in the oven. I mean, he doesn't want to be eaten, but he's also hiding in the oven, but it makes sense if it's not on, or lit. I don't think they had gas or electricity back when this was written. But, yeah, in the kitchen, he's not even trying to conceal himself. He's just standing around, wanting to be caught. I bet he was the one who said, let's let him in, ignore the claws, it's probably like just splinters or whatever. Probably didn't even think that hard of it. Probably just thought, oh, that must be Mother, because it's a white paw. Ignoring that they have a bloody hoof themselves, and they are a goat, and they don't even know what goats look like. Right. a fifth in the cupboard, a sixth in the wash basin, and a seventh in the clock case. Now, if any of you are linguists, or what's up with that side? Wait, it's not mirrored. Oh my god. If any of you are linguists or know the Greek and English languages, Chronos means time. I think it's spelt differently. I think it's CHRONUS anglicised, whereas the Titan is just CROUNUS. But yeah, Chronos means time, and Chronos in the myths he was constantly trying to battle time. He was always kill the young gods, the babies, or by swallowing them, and he kept on trying to hold on to his power long after it was overdue. So, another subtle link there. Could just be a coincidence, but I doubt it. Now, the wolf found all but one, the one hiding in the clock case, ironically enough, who was the youngest sibling, just as Zeus was out of Demeter, Hera, Poseidon, Hades. Did I get all of them? And Hestia. Didn't read that out. I thought of it in my own volition, with my own skills. Now, yeah, so the wolf just ate 6 lambs, and now he goes off to sleep, because, he'd be a bit encumbersome and everything else. So he goes to sleep in a meadow, which, quite nice. Fairy tale setting again. Quite good. I like the aesthetic, as fairy tales say, as fairy tales and other medieval things like to present. So, now considering that he just fell for a trick by someone who sounded near enough his mother, he's very eager to say, "Dear mother, I'm in the clock case," as soon as he thinks he hears her. So, yeah, they go out. She's still weeping and sobbing, even though, don't know, how many yanders do goats make? Like 40 a year? Probably not that much. She's not an insect. But, right. They both found the wolf sleeping in the meadow, and she says, "Go get some scissors and thread and string." Wait. Fetch scissors, needle, and thread, which are all domestic items used by mothers, mostly still today in the modern world. So the mother is the heroine, just as Rhea is the hero in the Greek myth. So, yes, she goes up and they see movement in his stomach, and which, don't really want to think about after all the V word, which was constantly spoken about in my friends group a few years ago. But I'm trying to refrain from saying it in both voices. But yeah, they find out, they must still be alive. So they cut him open. Don't know how he doesn't feel it, but again, this is a story about goats with a mother who walks on their hind legs who live in a house, and they all have individual names. So, and a talking wolf who's allowed to buy dough and flour. So maybe not the most accurate story ever written, but hey ho. Right. Now, all 6 jump out, which is quite akin to the Kronos tale. Now, if you're still skeptical, this should really blow it out of the water. Let's go find some stones. We have to fill the belly of this godless beast before he wakes up. Sorry, I like the phrase godless beast. So, yeah, that's quite obvious, really. To the other tale, if you know it, which hopefully you do. It doesn't matter, I'll read it to you. Then he wakes up later on. What's that rumbling down below? Feels to me like vertigo. It must be all those little bones, but now they're heavy, just as stones. And then he's thirsty because of all the stones in his stomach. I don't know how scientific that is, but he goes over to the well, leans his head forward, and he plummets to his death. Then all the kids shout, "The wolf is dead! The wolf is dead!" Which, in my opinion, I think villains should die in fairy tales, or at least get, boiled alive. Because with all these bloody modern ones, where they're so bloody sensitive and innocent, they either don't mean anything at all, or the villain just gets let off the hook. Like the big bad wolf gets a bit sad because he can't kill 3 pigs. So he cries, and then he gets forgiven and taken in for tea. What? What sort of message is that teaching children? Oh, it doesn't matter how bad someone is to you. You have to forgive them instantly and share your house with them. No, he should be boiled, cooked alive in the chimney which he tried to climb down. Jesus Christ. It's not that hard. Well, I suppose it will traumatise children, but that's a price I'm willing to make. Or pay in response to anti-Baby Shark. So yes, to play it safe, I will stop this recording, and I will start up another one talking about Kronos. Hello, I am back. I've teleported some of the books around, and I'm now entering uncharted territory. I have not got this far yet in terms of my recording, so although I didn't have a script beforehand, this one has no former experience whatsoever, so not even something to relapse my memory upon. So, yeah, let me just read through some of these, which I think is significant in regards to the previously explained story, fairy tale. Now, Rhea is Zeus's mother, and also Kronos, his wife, although they are sisters, but, you know, it's Greek mythology. I get used to the incest. So every year when Rhea gives birth to a child, Kronos eats it in order to save his power, because at the moment he is Lord of the universe. He is unchallenged, and although he's not at his peak by the time of the war, it says here the war lasted 10 years, but at last, Mother Earth oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. They ran out unhurt in gratitude, asked him to lead them in a war against the Titans, who chose the gigantic Atlas as their leader, for Kronos was now past his prime. So Kronos was no longer as powerful as he once was. So, you know, still shows that time will erode anyone. Doesn't matter if you're a Titan. I mean, probably matters if you're a god. I mean, not really affected, it seems, if you're sitting in Olympus, supposedly. So yeah, Cronus is there eating children every year. Then Rhea is sick of it. So in the dead of night, she bore Zeus at Mount Lyceum. Hold on. No, do not play exclusive. No. Sorry. Playing a meme. Lyceum. I'm just gonna say Lyceum. I'm probably going to cut that bit out. Mount Lyceum, where supposedly no creature can cast a shadow. I don't know if it's a real place. Probably is, considering Olympus is a real place. But I doubt it's where no creature can cast a shadow. But, wait. Right, and she gave the infant Zeus to Mother Earth, who would take care of him. Now, she knew that if Cronus found out, he would try and kill Zeus. So she wanted to hide him because she knew that they would need someone strong to lead the revolution. Now, I just realised this isn't at all relevant to the Wolf and the Seven Little Goats, but it will be relevant because when Cronus found out and started chasing Metis, who was carrying... Zeus turned himself into a serpent. Oh wait, no, that's later on. So Cronus found... Sorry about this. So Cronus was tricked by Rhea because she gave him a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes, as it says here on my Google document, which I promise is accurate. For Rhea had wrapped a stone in swaddling clothes, which she gave to Cronus on Mount Talmasium in Arcadia. He swallowed it, believing he was swallowing the infant Zeus. So yeah. So Zeus was still hiding out with Metis, who would later become Capricorn, I believe, or the symbol for Capricorn, the zodiac sign. And so yeah, he got tricked again, as seen in here, swallowing of stones instead of thinking it was for children. So yes, it is very clear now to anyone who didn't know the tale now that these two stories are very linked. They could just be loosely based, or it could be an almost replica of the Greek tale. I will say what I think later on, but yes, so when Cronus found out that Zeus was still alive, he initially tried to ambush him, but Zeus turned himself into a serpent and morphed his maids or servants or whatever into birds, I believe. They just escaped. Then Zeus found out that, or asked Rhea whether he could be Cronus's cupbearer in disguise. So he goes over, Rhea readily assisted him, Zeus, in his task of vengeance. She provided the emetic potion, which Metis had told him to mix with his honeyed drink. Cronus, having drunk deep, vomited up the first stone, and then Zeus's elder brothers and sisters. So again, you can see how the mother of the tale is the hero, at least in this section of the myth, because although Zeus is the one who actually does it, it is all Rhea's doing to make sure that Zeus is safe. And as we just saw, there are very similar events which go on here, where not exactly vomiting them, but the children escape and then take revenge on the wolf, which leads him to cascade down a well. Now, Cronus doesn't cascade down a well, but the point still stands that it is revenge and vengeance and family and whatever else. Not that the ancient Greek here gods cared about family much, but yes, I think there are definite similarities to be made. That much is clear. However, I do not think that it is an exact replica. Instead, I think it is a domesticated tale which is loosely based or inspired by the dethronement of Cronus. Because this one is much more simple. I mean, all fairy tales are simple. Hardly any of them have actual names, such as the boy who tried to learn fear, or the princess and the frog. They don't have names, and then when the frog transforms, he becomes a handsome prince. They don't actually have individual characters. They're not like, there's a witch in Hansel and Gretel. She's known as a witch. She's doing it because she likes to eat children. There's no deep lore, there's no storyline, there's not even much of a twist. It's just a simple linear, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Which, I think that's what makes fairy tales. It's their simplicity, and that's why they survived so long. Because, yes, although Old Norse mythology, Roman mythology, Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology has lived on for many years, there's only so complex you can make 7 little goats. Maybe you can add more and more layers where the wolf has to keep going and coming back to try and trick the children, but just makes it boring, especially to children, or if they were for children in the first place, but I suspect so, because they are sometimes about coming of age, such as Lady and the Frog, which is theorized as to what the meaning is, and also sort of like this, like that one, don't talk to strangers, don't let strangers in, don't trust them, don't go into the woods on your own in Hansel and Gretel. They're really simple moral codes, and I think that's what makes fairy tales, is that they're simple, not specified where they are, just some place in medieval Europe, and mostly, and then they become a hero, or they trick a villain and escape. That's all they are, and that's why I think they're so accessible to so many cultures, so many children. From toddlers to early adolescents, they can still be taught by fairy tales. Nowadays I just do it to look into more of a history and the original tales more than the trying to find out whether or not I should let a strange man into the house. But you know, that's why they're so popular in my opinion, and thought a bit about that in this book. I haven't finished yet, obviously. I as mentioned before, haven't finished this one either. I also have a Norse mythology book which isn't here exactly. So goodbye, I will see you hopefully soon.